Unfortunately, we've made the decision that this will be the last year of the Spectrum, and it affects all of us because it has so many great memories, and it's something that we've been reluctant to do, but at this point, I think the building has seen its best days, and we'll have great memories from this building. And I have to announce that at the end of the coming season, this will be the end of the Spectrum. All of us that made the decision, from Peter Luco on down, have wavered consistently on it. We should do it, or we don't want to do it, and but finally it became inevitable, and unfortunately, it has to happen. But I think we should all have great memories, and that's what I'm going to take with me, just great memories. When this building was developed, it really was needed in this city. I mean, the 76ers were playing in the convention center and the old arena, which really was pretty much of a dump, and the Palestra, they were all over the place. And they needed a home, and of course, in order to get the Flyers a home, we had to build the Spectrum. So we thought that it would be a success because, look, this is a major city and it had no arena, really. But it far exceeded our expectations. The building is intimate. The fans feel very close to the action. We brought all the various events in here that we really never had in this city before because we didn't have the proper facilities. So I think it was a great success just because it was perfect for its time. We had an advertising agency, and a young man there came up with the name Spectrum, and then Lou Scheinfeld, who was an executive in our company, sold it to me and sold it on the basis that it was a spectacle, it was a stadium, and a spectrum is all the colors of the universe and those type of things. But the truth of the matter is, when we named it the Spectrum, one of the writers said it sounded like a medical instrument. And Spectrum really wasn't used, by people or companies or anything. And I feel that this building had a tremendous influence. I remember the excitement of opening the building with the Quaker City Jazz Festival for 2 days in 1967, right at the end of September, beginning of October, and obviously the opening, first game of the Flyers, a new team, a brand new team, and a brand new venture. We really didn't know how it would go, but then I remember 7 years later we won the first cup. No one will ever forget that memory. It's etched in everyone's memory, I think, in this entire city. In addition to watching the Flyers and the Sixers and other sporting events, I mean, I can't begin to tell you how many concerts blew me away. I mean, let's face it, we had one of the last concerts of Elvis Presley before he died. Sinatra came regularly. Billy Joel came. I gave him a Flyers jersey. He told me he was an Islanders fan. I remember when we decided to put the third deck on here. And amazingly, we put the third level in without ever closing the building. And most of the work was done in the summer, and we had concerts. And we had a dirt floor. And the kids sat in the dirt because we pulled the machinery out for the concert. The kids sat on the dirt while we had the concert, while we were putting the third deck in, never closed. Imagine the agony that we went through when the so-called blowing off of the roof, actually some tarpaulin did blow open, but there was no structural issue whatsoever, and it would have been a simple repair, and then we could have made a major repair later so that it would never happen again. But it became a political football, and the mayor closed the building like it's unsafe. It wasn't unsafe. There was really no problem at all, but closed the building, and the Flyers had to play their last 8 games on the home games on the road. We were struggling already because we were a new team, and all those gate receipts had to be refunded. Plus, we had to play, those 8, and I don't know how many actual road games in a row. We still ended up in first place, and eventually we got the thing open for the playoffs. But it was really, really, it was a horrible situation for me personally, and for our team, and financially it was difficult, but we overcame it, and it's ancient history now. In the mid-'60s, we built the Spectrum, and it took us 11 months to build it, and actually completed it 16 months after we first had the idea. It's pretty amazing, and you compare that to what's now the Wachovia Center that took 2 years to build and actually took about 6 years to finally get all the approvals and the plans and everything else. It's a pretty amazing thing. In the same city, on the same lot, the difference in 1966 and 1996, 30 years later. In building the Spectrum, the documents were about this thick, legal documents. In building the Core State Center, now the Wachovia Center, I walked into a legal conference room, and the stacks of documents filled up the whole conference room. I mean, that's how the world changed in 30 years. Well, I think almost all Philadelphians will remember an occasion when they were here. And I hope that they all remember the great occasions and where they had a really good time. And I get all kinds of comments to this day about I was there when, and I was there when we did this or that. And it's just, it's good stuff. This really became one of the great buildings in the country. We consistently led the country in concerts, probably had as many or more events than any other building in the country. So it was a great